There is no one else I'd rather have on our side than President Donald J. Trump. No one understands this better than President Trump. No one. This country is worth fighting for, and he is not alone in this fight. Ladies and gentlemen,
the rally was supposed to be about the midterms. 3,000 people inside a Phoenix megachurch, pyrotechnic explosions, deafening music, the President of the United States walking out to a WWE-style entrance. A carefully choreographed political event designed to energize conservative voters ahead of November. And then it stopped being about any of that. Donald Trump's brief peck on the cheek of Erika Kirk at a Turning Point USA rally inside an Arizona megachurch triggered an online pile-on, with critics branding the moment creepy uncle vibes and supporters accusing detractors of willfully manufacturing outrage. But here is what made it even more interesting. Erika Kirk kissed the president on each cheek, gave him a little hug, and then scampered off the stage. When the president was left all alone, awkwardly swaying back and forth to the music, nervously grinning for over a minute, she bolted, and nobody could stop watching. Welcome to the Marquee Report. Let's break down exactly what happened, what the cameras caught, what the internet did with it, and why this 30-second moment eclipsed everything else at one of the biggest conservative political events of the year. Let's set the scene properly, because context matters for understanding why this clip landed the way it did. The moment came at Dream City Church in Phoenix, where Turning Point USA hosted its Build the Red Wall rally, a pointed name for a gathering in a state that has drifted leftward in recent cycles. Erika Kirk had already delivered her speech, a real one, substantive and politically pointed. She called out California Representative Mein Eric Swalwell by name and tied him to Arizona's own Democratic Senator Ruben Gallego, who defeated Trump ally Kari Lake in the 2024 Senate race. She invoked Charlie Kirk's vision. She talked about securing Arizona, Nevada, and New Hampshire. She sounded like a political leader, not a widow making a ceremonial appearance. And then Trump walked out. The footage showed President Trump greeting Kirk with a kiss on each cheek, right after his introduction video ended on the big screen. Trump came on stage and Kirk gave him a half hug, while the president returned that with a peck on either cheek. The crowd applauded, the pyrotechnics fired, the music swelled, and then Erika Kirk left. Fast. Next, standard protocol for high-profile political introductions typically involves the speaker leaving the stage shortly after the guest of honor begins their remarks. But there was quite a long time in between the introduction and Trump's speech. Trump stood there alone, swaying, grinning, for over a minute. While the music played and the crowd watched and the internet prepared to absolutely destroy the moment frame by frame, the clip went everywhere, immediately. As clips spread across X, reactions ranged from dismissive to critical. One user wrote, "Every single one of his interactions with women makes my skin crawl." Another comment read, "Who is going to tell him that she isn't 12 anymore?" Clips of the exchange ricocheted across X, where reactions split along familiar partisan lines. But it was not just the kiss that people were watching. Or it was what happened after it. Boy, she escaped fast. You'd think she would stay on stage until Trump started speaking. One user said on X, aptly putting to words what many were feeling. Another person shared the moment Trump was tightly gripping her arms and going for that kiss, basically missing her cheek and settling for her ear instead. The slow-motion replays started circulating. People were zooming in. Frame-by-frame analysis. People were zooming in, slowing it down, frame by frame, and flooding group chats before the rally had even wrapped up. Nobody was talking about campaigns or strategy anymore. The event was designed to build momentum for the midterms. Instead, 2 cheek kisses and 1 tight camera shot on his hand became the image that defined the entire night. Here is what gives this moment more weight than a simple viral clip. It is not the first time. This moment marked at least the 3rd time the president had been caught on camera kissing Kirk in a public setting, with previous instances recorded at a memorial service and a U.S. ambassador swearing-in ceremony. 3 times. Different events, different contexts, same dynamic, same online reaction each time. And it is not just Trump. The incident revived comparisons to a previous viral moment involving J.D. Vance and Kirk in 2025. That earlier interaction, which involved a public hug, had similarly sparked debate over appropriateness and public perception. A separate post referenced the previous viral moment involving J.D. Vance and Kirk, stating, "Well, she was welcoming J.D.'s advances, maybe the actual president could do better." At the time, Kirk had dismissed the criticism, saying physical gestures like hugs were part of her personality and should not be misinterpreted. So we now have a documented pattern of Erika Kirk being at the center of viral physical interaction moments with the two most powerful men in the Republican Party. And a documented pattern of the internet treating each one as a new controversy, regardless of how straightforward the interaction might actually be. Some joke that Usha Vance, wife of Vice President J.D. Vance, might want to start paying closer attention. Others wondered whether First Lady Melania Trump, if she cared to notice, might raise an eyebrow at the pattern. And then came the angle that arguably drowned out everything else. The comedian Drusky had previously gone viral for a parody skit widely believed to be a send-up of Erika Kirk, capturing her mannerisms, her look, her stage presence in a way that a significant portion of the internet found devastating. Her flowing blonde hair, heavy black eyeliner, and stiff posture had people immediately drawing fresh comparisons to Drusky's viral parody skit. One observer summed up the night with brutal simplicity, writing online, "Are we sure that's not Drusky?" Trump had previously urged Kirk to sue Drusky over the skit, publicly defending her and calling out those he said were mocking her unfairly. That detail is layered with irony. The president told Erika Kirk to sue the comedian who parodied her. Then the president's own onstage behavior with Kirk became the new viral moment that reignited every Drusky comparison that had ever existed. The rally was supposed to bury the week's controversies. Instead, it handed the internet an entirely fresh set of material. Here's the part of this story that deserves more attention than it is getting. Because while the internet was dissecting the kiss frame by frame, Erika Kirk was actually delivering one of the most substantive political speeches of her tenure as TPUSA CEO. She spoke with real purpose, lifting both her late husband's vision and the president's political mission before the packed church crowd. Her words landed with weight inside the room, even as the conversation outside continued to spiral in a completely different direction. She said, and this is worth hearing in full, "I'll never forget after that election, Charlie sitting there. He was going through the numbers, he was going through the maps, he was looking at all the data points, and he said, 'This is it, the red wall. If you can secure Arizona, Nevada, and New Hampshire, no one understands us better than President Trump.' That is not a grief performance. That is a political argument built on data and memory and purpose. That is a woman who absorbed her husband's strategic thinking and is now deploying it in front of thousands of voters in the state he identified as the linchpin of conservative electoral strategy." Trump memorialized Charlie Kirk at the top of his speech, saying Charlie was murdered by a cruel and vicious assassin who believed that by silencing his voice he could kill an entire giant movement. But standing here today, it's clear to see that Charlie's voice is not silenced. It's roaring, and roaring back loudly, frankly, than ever before. That is the event that was supposed to dominate the coverage. That is the story that was supposed to come out of Phoenix, a president honoring an assassinated founder, his widow leading the movement forward. 3,000 people united behind a decade-long electoral strategy. Instead, the story is 30 seconds of footage that the internet watched on a loop. Step back and look at what this week actually represents for Erika Kirk as a public figure, because the pattern is becoming impossible to ignore. Every single public appearance she makes becomes a viral moment for reasons that have almost nothing to do with what she actually said or did. Like the Georgia event, the security controversy, and the Secret Service contradiction, the Air Force Academy appointment, the qualifications debate, and Candace Owens' attack, the Phoenix rally, the kiss clip, and the sprint off stage. Kirk, the widow of TPUSA co-founder Charlie Kirk, has been under a harsh spotlight since taking over his role with online detractors, accusing her of everything from infidelity to acting as an Israeli spy. None of those more lurid claims is backed by evidence, but they have created a hostile backdrop in which even a fleeting gesture on stage is now scrutinized frame by frame. That sentence is the key to understanding the kiss controversy. It is not happening in a vacuum. It is happening inside an information environment that has been deliberately poisoned against her for months. Every gesture she makes gets filtered through that poison before anyone evaluates it on its own terms. A cheek kiss from the President of the United States is a completely normal political greeting. European heads of state do it constantly. American politicians do it constantly. In any other context, it would not generate a single frame of analysis. In the context of Erika Kirk's current public situation, every frame gets analyzed. Maybe she learned her lesson about keeping greetings quick. But with all the other strange things happening around Erika Kirk lately, you can't blame the internet for scrutinizing every frame she's in. Here is where everything stands. Erika Kirk went to Phoenix. She delivered a real speech with real political substance about real electoral strategy. She introduced the President of the United States in front of 3,000 people. Trump honored her late husband from the podium. The event raised voter registration data across key battleground state demographics, and the story that came out of it is 30 seconds of footage. 2 cheek kisses, 1 quick exit, 1 minute of Trump swaying alone on a stage, and an internet that had already decided it knew exactly what to do with every frame. Neither Trump nor Kirk has issued a statement addressing the latest controversy. There has also been no clarification from event organizers regarding the interaction. They probably will not, because statements about cheek kisses do not make controversies go away. They extend them. The smarter play is silence. Let the internet cycle move on. Focus on the actual work of building the red wall. Well, whether the internet will allow that, given how this week has gone, is a completely different question. This has been the Marquee Report. Serious, detailed coverage of the stories shaping the world right now. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss what comes next. See you on the next one.